Greetings and salutations, I'm the Raven, and this is Session whatever the Bastard Smols. What session is it?
35, I think.
Possibly 35, 36. I'll find out when I'm afterwards. Okay, attending at the moment is Sirant.
You hid your seat cushions.
Yes, I did.
Uh-huh.
Admittedly, I needed something to burn. JKLantern.
It's fine, I'll just steal his seat entirely.
Well, that's rude. And finally, for the moment, StarprincessHLC.
That's fine. I'll just steal lantern socks.
Hey, I need those to be warm.
So you do that anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's also from this point on, Magpie has been retired and... Well, that's just a thing that's happened. Yeozwah may be joining at some point. We'll find out. We've recorded an earlier one. It's a bit more taxing on the players, it turns out. So, apologies for the cough. Return to the wheel DMing. Wheel DMing, turn. Tell us whose turn it is to make the party regret their choices. Turning. Star. Okay, you've been taken off. Lantern, star. Yeozwah's not here. Who put Amarak on here? And
It's a distraction technique.
we come down to it's Sirot's turn.
Damn it.
I put the cookie on there.
What cookie?
Oh.
Look, you're gonna expect me to eat a cookie.
See, I put the citrus mint flavored Kit Kats on there.
Yeah.
Also, there's a note on the Amarak slot. If you're looking for a good time in the Death Trap dungeon, please call me at this dimensional address. Okay.
Something tells me then that particular idea of a good time isn't one we would enjoy.
No. Also, note ask me about my god creation rates. Ugh.
I don't think I will. All right. So things have been kind of quiet since everybody returned to the guild after the last session. When suddenly you get the standard cry. You get the standard cry from basically a round of all the people doing their basic stuff. The guild, suffice to say, the guild is a little bit noisy. It's about lunchtime. So, with all that in mind, let's start with Snorri. What's Snorri been up to lately?
For the past few months, Snorri has discovered not only can the ratfolk stomach his special brew, they have been, or at least their people in the other world they came from, has been brewing something similar for basically purposes of feeding themselves, weaponry, and general demolitions of walls in the way. So he's kind of been bonding with them in a strange sort of uncle you don't really want to hire with, but yet you still do. He's learning new tricks. They're learning new tricks for brewing.
Oh my god, they're socializing Snorri.
Look, in the beginning, in this case, it was Snorri's idea to basically bring Tiny into the fold, so it's a case of this naive young whippersnapper won't get crushed by the world. Otherwise, he's been upgrading his skill, learning new techniques, teaching his rat folks new techniques, and just generally otherwise been sleeping the other times.
What has Cyrano been up to?
What has Cyrano been up to? Well, after that encounter with Carver, he was in the medical wing for a little bit.
Yuki visit him every day.
Mm-hmm. And he's been doing odd jobs for the family, but mostly trying to keep a low profile.
It's at this point, but at least a week later after the job happened, you got a appearance and a visit by one of the messengers, who made sure to kick you in every tender bit you had before passing on the message of, you got some gall.
And what has Yuki been up to?
I mean, mostly been tending to Cyrano in the medical wing, but also taking time for therapy visits with Human.
Shifros has been spending quite a bit of time in therapy, considering that he was basically the one to actually have Carver just stare directly at him after the nuke went off. He's been a little bit shaken. And as far as this adventure is concerned, he's taking time off. But that doesn't stop the world from continuing to revolve, and it does not stop life from continuing on to annoy pretty much every participant in it. So we find, basically Cyrano and Yuki just kind of hanging out, not specifically in the canteen, but they are just kind of hanging out together. When the sound goes over the tannoy. Would Group 68.5 please report to the Guildmaster's office? Repeat, Group 68.5, please report to the Guildmaster's office. Also, one Snorri, if you are awake, please also report to the Guildmaster's office.
Who's Group 68.5?
It would be us.
Since when?
I think they were trying to name us 69, but I think Shifros fought against it.
Huh.
I took on the law, and the law begrudgingly gave in.
Well, let's see what they want up at the office.
Yeah. Although I wonder who else is going to be here, because it's a little quiet-ish. Noisier than it's been.
So you guys just head off that way?
Yeah.
It turns out Snorri's asleep at this time, but the kegworm is leading him to the office.
Okay.
Hi, Greg.
That's the closest thing to speech.
Oh, you got rid of that cold. How much cough syrup did you need for that? Wow.
How are things going with Darla and Accountant?
Who are you addressing?
Greg the Keg Golem. Oh, that's lovely. I hope things go well for you. You deserve to be happy.
What the fuck? What are you doing to my animated objects?
Humanizing it, apparently.
Golem deserve love too, damn it.
Golem has got a blackcurrant flavored grog for the next 3 months.
So you get to the office. The secretary, who is not Dolores, whatever name she's going by at this point in time, for today anyway, ushers you in, and you see your illustrious leader there next to a somewhat recognizable dragonborn that you've had a few dealings with at some points in the past. And they both turn and look at you, and your leader goes, thank God you're here. Look, we have a nice proposal from this gentleman right here, and he called on you specific. Where are all of you?
That's a good question. I'm going to assume Omnius is asleep. Kiko's probably doing something else, and Shifrost is still recovering from the last mission.
Your group's kind of gotten smaller, hasn't it?
I mean, it's been kind of weird since Tedlin ran off looking for his box.
I heard a rumor that he wound up finding, like, some sort of green thing in some kind of saucer, but...
It's also to note the mail for Tedlin has not been collected for a fair old while, so much like how one of the warehouses is full of cinnamon, there's no warehouse filled with replies to Tedlin.
And we still don't know where Okasan went.
Well, maybe things will still work out with the three of you. I can see why they recommended we grab Snorri for this.
Yuki pokes the sleeping dwarf.
Good. Snorri, you're awake.
Am I?
You're in my office.
Aye.
You can thank your golem for bringing you in here for me. All right, well, I will let you take it, Gillian. So he goes to sit down while the Dragonborn, who, yes, is Gillian. If you don't remember, he was one of the nobles at the at one of the early jobs that the Smols were gathered together for.
He's fairly easy to recognize. He's a 7 foot tall silver dragonborn with wings.
I think he got trolled a while back, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
He's rather glad Okasan's here.
Probably.
Or Shifrost, for that matter.
Yes. The Smols, the rather famous or infamous group, depending on who you ask. I've passed a proposal by your guildmaster here, and he seems to be amenable to it, and recommended that you guys might be the right ones for the job, and after seeing your work, I tend to agree. So here is my proposal. Each of you will get 250 gold. I will personally owe you a favor that we can figure out later. And I have managed to secure a few things for the guild itself. You see, I am having a bit of a problem with a mercenary I hired at one point in time. I didn't hire him for much, mostly to mediate a dispute between some workers and some mine operators. But he took my payment and went rogue. And not too many other mercenary groups are willing to cross this guy, if you understand my meaning. And once word got back to the scoundrel, it seems that he decided that he needed to make sure that I got a message, and he's been attacking any business I have a hand in that general vicinity. Mostly mining operations. But he apparently has the resources to completely demolish, not burn down, but to nearly disintegrate an entire textile factory I had in the area, and also the entire base for a mining operation.
Sounds like a pretty intense message he's trying to send. Perhaps he should use some form of Western Union messenger service.
This has been particularly effective as far as I'm concerned. But it's not only me, although he is seeming to focus on anything I have a hand in the area. But anybody that tries to start up a new business in the area, mostly mining, the area is very rich in mineral resources. But not much else. But if he gets wind of it, he does what he can to dissuade people from going through. And I have a handful of investors that are more than willing to, shall we say, share the wealth if we can manage to get his particular, this scoundrel's particulars sorted out in a way that means he leaves the area in one form or another.
Yes, scaly knobby knob. Who's this scoundrel in the question?
He goes by the name Calarag, which none of you will probably have ever heard of because you're not in the mercenary business.
But army career?
A soldier of fortune, so... Like, I was a sailor / miscreant. I might know it, but...
Go ahead and roll I want to say investigation.
Okay. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
Huh.
You know that this guy is one of the few mercenary bands to have some he doesn't have a lot of people in his mercenary outfit, but the people he does are very highly regarded, and they use guns. They're one of the few groups to actually have guns.
Wow, they were that rich.
That rich or that good, one of the two.
They acquired them, and nobody has been able to take it off of them since.
Basically.
They fell off of the back of a van.
But yeah, since Calarag has taken over the area, the few scouts that have managed to report back have said he's working out of some dilapidated structure called the Last Chance Saloon. We have almost no information because our scouts are usually sniffed out pretty quick. But he does quite a bit of brisk business with the local mining population there. He's come to blows with some other local groups and some non-local groups. But he always seems to end out on top. So, what I would prefer you do, if at all possible, is you go there, you manage to drive him off, and you actually manage to get rid of that godforsaken abomination to the landscape. By any means necessary. To dissuade him as much as possible from ever returning, should you not manage to, well, kill him.
Alright, so we need to dissuade the mercenary with the guns from ever coming back and ruining business.
And if that happens, then, Well, let's just say that the guild will have first dibs on most mineral deposits that we manage to find and excavate out of there. Along with a few other bonuses that I have already went into detail with your boss about.
There were coupons handed out. First class boot buffering by first class guild orphans off the street. Union certified.
And on a personal note, I believe that you may find this interesting. He has procured the services of an accountant that I believe, according to the reports, that you had some dealings with at some point in the past. Some blue-skinned elf that served a cult or some other.
Oh. Yellow Crest or no, Feral, right?
That might be his name. Feral, Faerun. I am not sure of his name.
I never did find out what happened to him after that mission.
So if you could, I have an airship waiting to take you out there. The area you are going is rather inhospitable. So I understand that you have a ready supply of potables at your disposal with that golem. But
we don't want to drink. We don't want to drink Greg. He's family.
You are basically going to a desert. There's not a lot of sand. It is between here and Strachus. And the land there looks like it may be at risk of turning into more of the area like Strachus.
Oh good, more worms, just so we need.
Is by this point Snowy's fallen asleep again.
He pokes the dwarf again. Poke.
Is he going to be useful, or is he going to be asleep the entire trip?
Maybe we push him in the right direction. We should be fine.
Yeah. I would also say make sure you bring plenty of water. You will probably need it for this trip.
It is nectar of the gods.
Do you have any questions?
Any means necessary, you said.
Any means you can see to get rid of that blight of a building and drive Kellerag from the area.
Just continues to look over at Snorri. Yeah, I think we got enough to deal with that.
All right. When you are ready, meet at the airship docks. I have a crew waiting to take you out there.
Okie dokie, artichoke. One major distraction. Let's do this.
What's an artichoke?
Yeah, who's does it with artichoke specials?
First, we got a mission, Snorri.
No one's touching my artichoke brew.
You may get to blow stuff up. Come on.
Okay, everybody starts heading towards the airship, I take it.
We gather up supplies like a shitload of water and whatnot, but yeah.
Well, before you get to do that, As Cyrano leaves the office, he hears "Andy!" come from above, and the goblin drops promptly down on his head and starts beating him up in the standard code that he's getting to know all too well, telling him Percy wants to see him at the usual meeting spot.
Like Goblin, wow, he's branching out.
Is it Goblovember already?
The goblin kicks you one extra time for the joke.
Yep, Goblovember.
Another mission.
And I need to go see a man about something stupid.
Yeah.
God.
Good luck with that, as she's like putting a note underneath Omnius's door just in case he wakes up.
All right. So while I assume Yuki is the one actually getting the supplies at this point, because who knows what Snorri's going to be able to do.
Exactly. He's probably asleep, so she piles a few onto his lap in the wheelchair and just pushes it.
Pretty much.
And I take it Cyrano heads off to the usual meeting spot, the underground former fight club.
Mm-hmm.
And he sees Percy just kind of leaned back in a chair. You know what? You know how people will lean back in a chair where the front legs actually come off, so they're reclining and they have their feet on the table.
Yep.
That's what
Does that
Percy's
regularly.
that's what Percy's doing, and just kind of chewing on a toothpick with his hands behind his head.
Yes.
Ah, good. I see you didn't chicken out. Do you like the new messenger?
Is it Goblovember? I'm confused. I kind of lose track of time.
He's going to kick you again for that, you know. So, I hear you're going up to those blasted wastelands.
Something about distracting some mercenary.
Good. Because, the family has a small problem that, well, until now, we haven't really wanted to bother much with. Just because we couldn't get anybody that really wanted to go out there and deal with it. But since you're headed that way, you see, turns out one of Primrose's little lackeys, a little blue-skinned jackass of a kobold, decided he was going to take a payment that he'd been given to give to the mayor of the town, so the police force would look the other way for a few dealings. He decided he was going to take that and run off and start a new life for himself. Normally we would have dealt with it fairly quickly, but Primrose was, well, let's just say otherwise inconvenienced at the time, and didn't notice that he'd gone missing until the mayor came demanding the bribe.
Wait, was this the thing that happened after the Hogswatch party? I think I remember this.
It could have been. Could have been. I'm not going to confirm that because I think Primrose would have my head, but you know.
Maybe if she threw less intense parties, she'd be better able to pay attention to getting her bribes out on time.
Oh, maybe if she threw a less intense party, she'd have to give a lot more bribes.
Fair enough.
So, dear family member, since you're headed up that way, we're going to take advantage of this. If you happen to see that little slime ball of a kobold, feel free to give him, a new smile. If you catch my drift.
Make the kobold smile. Got it.
You know, with you, I can never be sure if you're actually understand what I'm saying. So I'll be clear. Slit his throat.
Blue kobold, slit throat. Got it.
And he goes by the name of Snugno.
Snugno.
Okay, off with you now.
Another life of crime for me.
What do you mean another? It's the same life you've been living.
And so Cyrano starts heading back towards the dock, trying to think of ways to subvert this instruction.
So, I'm going to assume that everybody arrives at the dock after doing their shopping.
Turns out great.
Unless you just really want to roleplay the shopping.
Turns out the golem has actually stocked Snorri pretty well for the mission to come.
Okay.
It turns out Snorri really doesn't remember prepping for any missions. It's the golem every time.
So I assume you've got plenty of water, some light clothing, just basic desert attire. Desert attire and supplies. So you get on the airship, and the airship takes a good long while because Strakis' winds are, the winds coming out of that place are not exactly the most hospitable to aircraft, but you're not getting to this place any other way. It's far too remote for the guild to have any type of teleportation circle there. But the trip is rather uneventful. You land, and basically the ship captain goes, okay, I was giving you instructions that the place you're looking for is about 1 day's travel that direction. And he looks at his compass and then points you not quite due west, but very close to due west.
I guess we start going that direction.
Okay. So, you take a look around because there's not a whole lot to do else here other than walk. And yeah,
or in Snorri's case, roll.
Yeah.
If only we could motorize Snorri, and then we could have the Snorri cart, and then we could, ride.
And so Yuki's pushing the cart and the wheelchair, and on occasion, if it goes fast enough, she'll just sit on the back of it and go, whee! Like you do with shopping carts.
Snorri at this time is wearing the air blue at this audacity.
Whee!
And you guys managed to arrive at this point. It's early morning. The sun is just starting to come up. But you can tell there's not a single cloud in the sky anywhere. And if you are familiar with a lot of old Western movies, imagine a place that's just incredibly hard-packed dirt. It's so hard-packed, the dirt, there's no individual dirt anymore. It's just a solid sheet of dirt.
Yeah.
And it's got a ton of cracks in it from any lack of any actual precipitation. There is no vegetation. None whatsoever. And since there's no vegetation, you're not running into any wild animals out here either.
I see a cow skull. Where's the rest of the cow?
It probably got carried off by a grok or a griffin. So yeah, you are literally in a desert. It's just not sand. It's just hard packed and cracked earth. And very, very flat. So you've got constant wind blowing in from just about any direction.
Which way is the wind blowing?
It changes direction about every 20, 25 minutes.
Which is fun for Yuki and Sai because they both have long hair.
I'm going to explain it because Lantern. I'm going to explain it this way because Lantern will be familiar. It's Oklahoma wind.
God damn it! Yuki's going airborne.
Whee!
But yeah, there are no natural borders around this area, so the wind comes in from any direction it damn well pleases. So you're just getting wind from it'll change on a moment's notice.
For my own edification, I'm gonna roll a dex save to see if I go flying.
It's not that strong.
Can we say that we lose about 20 minutes travelling time because as the winds came hitting in at their worst, Snowy pulls a lever on his chair and a mast rises at the back of it, knocking Yuki off, and he offers up into a sail. And so only after 20 minutes of getting dizzy does he retract the sail.
Just a second. I'm going to roll something here real quick. How much does Snorri weigh with the chair about?
I probably haven't even put that down.
Just an estimate.
Say about 25 stone.
Yeah, while he has the sail up, the wind is strong enough to pick him up a few inches and slam him back down to the ground.
Fly away, dwarf!
Pangy ass winds can't even lift me off.
So, also give me an intelligence check. Actually, give me survival check.
Okay.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh wow. That's an 18.
Unnatural 20.
Well, apparently Snowy hasn't really not recovered from this morning because he's only got a 7.
Okay, you guys are actually able to stay on the right direction. The wind doesn't disorient you enough to make you lose your way and take extra time getting there. However, you've been traveling for about 5 hours, so it's approaching, noon, midday, however you want to look at it. And you run across what at first it just looks like a bunch of cloth laying on the ground. That just kind of apparently anchored in place and is flapping in the breeze, so to speak.
Is that a tent?
Everybody roll me an investigation check.
Oh, that is a nat 20.
It's a 16.
9. I got a -1 to investigation.
Okay. So first things first, what you can tell is that it's not just one tent, it's about 6 of them. And they were arranged in about a half circle. In the middle was a spot where a nice little campfire was set up. You can see kind of the remains of it. Not many, and definitely a lot less remains than you would expect a campfire that just burned itself out. And you can also see you see some stakes, some flexible poles bent and driven into the ground, and it looks like what they had was a windscreen up on the other side of the tents. But as you kind of poke around, you move aside one of the tents that fell over, and you do notice that all of the tents seem to have fallen away from the middle of the campsite. It looks like someone pushed them over from basically the same point. And what you notice, you do find one tent that is more or less intact, but it's not overwhelmingly so. It's pretty tattered, but when you move it aside, you notice there's actually some stuff still left under there. You find, well, more notably, a bunch of cloth that looks like it came off of garments, but they're pretty tattered and ratty, and quite a few of them look like they were burned. Which, considering the sun out here, probably not that not that mysterious. You do find some empty and some battered canteens. You find remnants of meals. And as you dig through, especially with that nat 20, one of the pieces of fabric looks like it might have been a sock. It's about the only recognizable piece, and you can tell that it still has quite a bit of blood dried and stuck to it. Another piece of cloth that you find actually has a patch that has a crest on it that looks kind of like a sword. You can't make it out fully. It's pretty battered, but you can tell that it was a patch and that there was at least some type of sword on this.
Yuki kind of studies that a little bit, and his eyes go kind of wide, shows this to Cyrano. Doesn't this look familiar?
Does it? Like, I genuinely don't remember.
Hang on.
I thought Surratt was referencing Battletech here for a second.
No.
Oh. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
It's the same one on that note you got me with what was left of my old party.
Great. Family business. This,
Wait, that's what that was?
Not my family necessarily, but another one.
There's more than one.
What do you think keeps us busy? There's numerous families. All of them tend to be in conflict with each other. It's a loose confederation of people with similarly aligned interests, but they all have their ambitions, shall we say.
And
So-
while you're exploring, you notice one last thing. You needed at least a 19 to spot this one. You notice where the campfire would have been. You notice that instead of the earth being perfectly smooth and flat like it is just about everywhere else around here, there's a bowl-shaped depression and some extra crack lines.
Hmm. Yuki pokes at the cracks.
You're not getting much out of them. Nothing's going to crawl out after you.
Hmm.
It looks like someone else had some problems here. One of the other families had some problems here and decided to clean up.
Question is why?
I have no idea, because I know my family doesn't particularly like doing business out here.
Hmm. Yugi looks a little bit closer at the sock, sniffs it. Then she just kind of goes wide and starts looking at the tents closer.
Give me a perception check
Okay.
to notice something else.
Okay. $19.
It smells like gunpowder.
Smells like gunpowder.
Well,
Oh, good.
Not strictly gunpowder, but you would recognize the effects of gunpowder after it's went off. It kind of has that smell.
So this might be recent.
And you also notice that it's all over the tents and just in the general vicinity, too.
Oh, good. The families are blowing things up. The question is why.
It's a good question. Wonder who these people were.
Against all odds, you hear a cat off in the far distance.
Nope,
Oh.
not there. Mirage.
Must be one of them desert mountain lions I hear so much about.
I hear the cries of the kitty again. It haunts me.
What's your secret with cats, then?
You don't like me.
So, do you spend any more time here?
Probably gonna keep looking through, see if anything else is around. See if there's anything useful, for one.
There is nothing actually. I mean, I assume you could probably try and salvage some of the cloth from the tents. But, yeah, it's basically everything here is ruined, for lack of a better word. There's nothing left of any value here.
Okay. Any tent salvageable enough to use again, or no?
Not really. No, not as what they used to be.
Okay.
Can we convert the remains of the tents into an even larger sail for Snorri?
You could try, but they seem a little bit brittle.
Okay.
Like if a strong wind hit them, they would actually just rip in half. And
There's not much else we can do but keep going.
Okay.
Here we go.
So,
Here we go to linger on. Sans gilly with sense and not be.
Yeah, that's fair. Yuki plays a small song on her lyre in remembrance of the people here, and keep going.
so you continue to travel on. I'm going to let the earlier roll stand for this, just so we don't have misadventure out in the nothing. And you travel on. Pretty much absolutely nothing's going on. Everybody make me a survival check.
Oh boy. That is a 10.
15.
9.
Okay, nobody rolled under a 5. I was just making sure you guys were actually drinking water and covered up.
But
It turns out that we're drinking bacon grease and are nudists.
I mean, Yuki does sleep in the nude, canonically.
Snowy is reluctantly drinking water. Because he damn well knows that drinking purely alcohol will dry you out quickly.
Does that mean he's
Oh, yeah.
sobering up as this is going on?
Oh no!
And he is disgusted by how on the ball he's getting. Where am I? Am I on the sticky island again? Oh God, not you two again. Where's the rest?
So, it approaches, nighttime eventually hits. Do you guys continue to travel on through the night, or do you decide to set up camp?
Well, if Breath of Fire 3 taught me anything, it's that it'll be cooler at night.
We should have been traveling at night to begin with. We're apparently stupid.
We are the Master Smols.
Snowy will remind everyone you're stupid. We should be traveling at night. And he pitches himself under a tent. More to the point of the tent's pitched over him. He is the framework. All you see is the snowy shaped tent.
Snorri is the 10.
He is denying reality at the moment.
I mean, he is getting more and more sober as the day goes on, so.
You can hear some muttering going on.
Yeah, I thought he would be more pleasant when he was not pissed ass drunk all the time.
Knock him off, you sea bits.
Wonder how Snark puts up with him.
Poorly.
And Tiny just likes everybody, so.
I've got to jump in and say you remember the argument that was recorded when Snark joined you for that mission.
Mm.
The argument that was used to distract the mercenaries. They got vicious.
Hmm. Well, I guess we gotta pitch a tent too.
Well, let's set up camp.
Yep.
The only
Should we
reason
look-
I'm asking this is because it's going to affect what time of day you find this place.
Okay.
So not much is going to happen. I mean, if you want to have some role play amongst yourselves, you can. Otherwise, we will just pick up from when you break camp in the morning.
Do you think if Snorri gets any more sand on him, he'll develop like a protective shell?
You never know.
Try it and you die.
I mean, we don't have to try that hard. The sand's flowing everywhere.
Actually, there's not a lot of sand here to blow.
Also impressive that considering how old he is, he still can hear us from another side of the desert.
How much water would you say is within 300 feet of this location?
How much is in the canteens?
I think more natural occurring water.
Almost zero.
God damn it. I was going to burn a fifth level spell slot for some control water just to make Cyril's life a bit more miserable.
You might be able to get a cup full if you pull every drop out of the ground in in a 300-foot radius.
In that case, you hear some chanting, some muttering going on. This, as in basically every drop of water that's naturally occurring with 300 feet, gathers up, floats up, forms into a fist, and smacks Zero in the face.
Well, whatever left is out here now has to deal with even less water.
And because the spell lasts for a good 10 minutes, the hand reforms and proceeds to slap Cyrano for the next 10 minutes.
Well, that's one way to stay hydrated.
And towards the end, the hand just splits and just goes down it. And basically, you end up drinking it, whether you like it or not.
So, some poor desert creature has been deprived of their water.
Maggots!
Yeah, it was probably maggots. At least that cat stopped.
Bloody cats! Let me alone!
I hear that the desert sand cat is the most lethal predator in existence.
It is!
It only weighs 2 pounds, but it can bring down 300 pounds of prey in a day.
Kills more people than a purple worm.
Desert sand cat more lethal than hippopotamus. Got it.
Yes.
It's also we're nearly 1 hour running, so we want to wrap it up from now. Wrap up this section.
Yep.
Okay.
That works.
So yes, this is part 1 of this session. We're not lost and not alone because we've got each other in the desert. We have no horse with no name. So catch us next time to see how this develops. Later, folks.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.